requested that I make a Singapore travel guide, so that's what we're gonna do today. Now, I did make a few notes because I have not been to Singapore in a few months, but it was one of my favorite countries, and we were only supposed to go for a visa run, but we ended up extending our stay because we loved it so much. So let's get to it. Now, starting off with visa, I'm a US citizen, so I did not need a visa to go into Singapore, and I'm pretty sure most countries don't need a visa, but just make sure you check the government website just to make sure. And I want to start off with their airport. Their airport is top notch. I'm sure you've seen the famous Jewel, which is the most beautiful, beautiful rainfall piece of art. I call it art because it's just beautiful. Now, I listed things to do in each terminal because what I heard is that you're not allowed to enter different terminals, but some people say you can, so just don't get in trouble. But Terminal 1, we've got the rooftop swimming pool, the rain sculpture, and some entertainment zones. And then for Terminal 2, Sunflower Garden and movie theaters. But Terminal 3 is probably my favorite. They have the most things to do there. You've got the famous butterfly garden. I am so jealous of Isaac because he got to do this coming back from, I think, India, and I didn't. I'm so sad because that's the one that I wanted to do, but we couldn't do because we were in a different terminal when we went. And then they also have the indoor slide, the enchanted garden, and another movie theater. Okay, now let's talk budget. Singapore is so expensive, especially when you compare other Asian countries. We're used to like a $35 a day budget in like India, Nepal, Thailand, Sri Lanka, Bali, Vietnam. Doable. With Singapore, you need like a $75 budget for a low tier. Our hostel itself costs $40 each. That's more than we spend in a day in other countries. So for a low range budget, I put about $50 a day. Even if you get a $40 hostel, you can eat very cheap in Singapore at like 7-Eleven if you want. That's what we did, honestly, for like 4 days. But there's so many free things to do, so your activities are mostly going to be free. And I'm gonna go over all the free things to do in Singapore in a little bit later. For a mid-range budget, I would put about $55 to $100 a day. And for luxury, you could probably end up spending like $2,000 a day in Singapore. I don't know, if you got it. But for a reasonable budget, I would budget about $75 a day. That allows you to stay at a pretty decent hostel or hotel and eat whatever you wanted and do a bunch of stuff. And I'm gonna list all the links below of everything that I personally use to buy my hotels, my hostels, or my flights, but I would definitely use Hostel World to find your hostel. The hostels in Singapore are a lot more posh, so that is one upside, because some of the cheaper hostels in other countries are not nice at all, but even the low budget ones in Singapore are still going to be pretty posh. Now for food, you can go to 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven is known to have the most amazing food in Asia, or you can do a hawker center. Hawker centers are going to be about $3 to $10 per meal. And then you also have restaurants, and restaurants are going to cost you from $20 to maybe $50 per meal in Singapore. Okay, now moving on to transportation. Their transportation system is top notch. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this in other videos that I've done, but Singapore is living in the future when it comes to their buses and metro systems. First of all, you use your credit card to get on the bus, which is new to me. And it only costs maybe like 25 cents to $1 per ride, and you can just go wherever you want. Isaac and I like to play this game where we alternate moves. So my move can be get on a bus, get on a train, take a left, take a right, or keep going straight. And we would do this in Singapore where we would just constantly take all these random moves and it would just end us up in the best places. But what made it so easy is their metro system, because we could just hop on a bus very easily, hop on a train very easily. And their systems are just so futuristic. They're so organized, they're so precise. Honestly, that's the only form of transportation that I would even use. I don't even think you should get taxis or anything in Singapore, which is gonna cut your cost so much. Oh, and currency. $1 equals 1.36 Singapore dollars. So pretty much the same, and pretty much the same as euros as well. Okay, now I had to look this one up, but the best time to come, it says from February to April is a lot better weather and fewer crowds. And you want to avoid November to January because it's their rainy season. I'm not even sure when we went. We just went for a Bali visa run. Yeah, I don't know. So I lied in one of my other videos. I thought I hadn't tried any Singapore dishes, but now that I'm looking things up, I remember that I tried laksa. Laksa is one of their famous noodle dishes. It's like a spicy shrimp seafood dish. I personally love seafood and it was a bit too fishy for me, but I did like the spice to it and like the creamy, I think it was made almost with coconut milk. I don't know, but if you don't like fish, you're probably not gonna like it. It just wasn't for me. I like to stick to their 7-Eleven. Some other Singapore dishes that you can try is chicken rice, satay, or chili crab, which I think I would love. Okay, now let's get into the fun stuff. There's so many free things to do in Singapore. This is the only reason we were able to extend our stay. It is so expensive, but they have tons of free things to do that you could fill up like a whole week worth. I'm gonna try to pronounce these. I already know that I'm gonna say a lot of these wrong, so don't bash me in the comment section. Okay, first one is Bugis Street or Bugis Street. I don't know, but it's where all the shopping is. It's just a really cool shopping center to kind of walk through, but it gets pretty chaotic. One thing I loved was Chinatown. They had a bunch of temples, Chinese food, hawker centers. It was amazing. And then Little India, you can get a bunch of Indian food, which we love. We've been to India before and we love Indian food so much. It's probably our favorite food, or one of our favorite foods, because Sri Lanka, you're probably number one. And Little India is just super colorful. One of my favorite things to do was the Marina Sand light show. This happens, I think, every night. I'll put the times here, but it's futuristic. I swear that Singapore is living on a whole nother level. I don't know how this is free every single night, but please do not miss one of the shows. You're gonna be in awe of it. It's like a light show, a water show. I'm pretty sure there was like a hologram of like a ferry that was flying through the water and light show. It was insane. America is way behind when it comes to Singapore. Another thing that I couldn't believe was free is Gardens by the Bay. At nighttime, it lights up. It's like these tall tree flowers. I don't know, it's beautiful. Gardens by the Bay is like a futuristic super tree grove and flower dome. It does get packed and it is a bit of a walk to get there, so make sure you go a bit early. Another one of my favorites was Haji Lane and Arab Street. They are pretty close to each other. Haji Lane is just like a quirky street art and a bunch of different shops, but it's beautiful and so many things to take pictures with, and it's definitely one of the most Instagrammable spots in Singapore. And then Arab Street, you've got the mosque. There's a bunch of different Middle Eastern shops and restaurants, and they do the coffee that you make in the sand. I forget what it's called. And then there's Clark Quay, which is a really colorful place by the lake for restaurants and bars, and the most colorful police station I've ever seen. So I did all the free things that you could do, but I did make a list of non-free things that you could do and the prices. I personally didn't do any of these, but I figured I would look them up in case you chose to do them. So first we have Marina Bay Sands Sky Park Observation Deck. This is going to be about 23 Singapore dollars. Universal Studios in Singapore, tickets start from 66 Singapore dollars. You have the Sea Aquarium, that is 29 Singapore dollars. Night Safari is 53 Singapore dollars, and the Art Science Museum is 16 Singapore dollars. Now lastly, I have some tips for Singapore. First of all, you can actually drink the tap water, which is very new to me. I was very skeptical of doing it when my hostel said that it's safe, but it is, which is almost unheard of in a lot of the Asian countries, especially for someone with a US stomach. English is widely spoken in Singapore, but always download Google Translate just in case, because people also speak Mandarin, Malay, and Tamil. Oh, and do not eat on the bus. Little side story, but I was so hungry one day. I went to a shop, got a tuna sandwich or something, and took it on the bus and started to eat it. And this lady yelled at me, and I was like, why is she yelling at me? I'm just trying to eat my sandwich. And that's just me being a stupid American, because I'm thinking this is allowed, but it's illegal. And you can also get, I think, like a $2,000 fine if you're caught eating on the bus. And I'm pretty sure chewing gum as well. So don't do that. Also, just some tips for Asia in general. Get Air Aloe. It's one of my favorite eSIM apps. I'll put the link below as well as a code to use for $3 off. Also, if you want travel insurance, I'll add my favorite one below. And if you don't want to plan your own travels, I can. That's what I do for people. I plan their travel trips. I'm a full-time traveler and I've become an expert at travel and organization. So check out my website below for more information. Also, don't forget to get my free packing list, which I'll also link below. And just a reminder, my name's Nini. I'm a full-time traveler and I've been traveling Southeast Asia for the past year with my boyfriend, Isaac. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.